What more do you know about the specifics of this injury?
I can tell you, as soon as he grabbed his arm yesterday, the suspicion was that he had a Tommy John-like injury. That was the suspicion. It was non-contact. He's been complaining about some elbow tendonitis to the trainers there, and he had the MRI. It shows the torn ligament, and so he has to have that surgery. I called Jake Delhomme, who's one of 4 quarterbacks I know for sure who's had Tommy John surgery, the former Carolina Panthers quarterback. And I called him this morning, and he goes, he didn't even say hello. He said, "You're calling me about Ben Roethlisberger, aren't you?" And sure enough, I was. And then Mike Tomlin, the head coach, made the announcement shortly ago that Ben is out for the season. There have been other quarterbacks who've had this injury. We associate it with baseball pitchers, right, David?
So he's having Tommy John surgery. Is that what you're saying?
Let's let the team go ahead and define that.
Okay.
But that is what I've been told.
Okay.
Is that this is Tommy John-like surgery. Now, Joe Montana had elbow surgery. That was a tendon, but it knocked him out for the year in 1991. And that eventually led to his way out of Kansas City because Steve Young came in. But then, we've had Jake Delhomme. Carson Palmer had this injury, wasn't as severe, and he chose not to have the surgery, but he missed the rest of that 2007 season when he suffered it. And then Craig Erickson, guys, in the past have had it.
When we think of Tommy John, we think of that's 12 to 18 months.
It's not for football players. Jake Delhomme said his arm was better 2 months after surgery in 2007. 4 to 6 months, he was throwing. After 6 months, his arm was live. And in fact, he said to this day, his arm is the best part of his body.
Okay.
So it's not the same violent throwing motion.
So we should expect him at the start of next season if everything goes according to plan. If he wants to continue to play,
there's no question.
So from what you've seen of Mason Rudolph, small sample size, you've heard what other analysts have said. How confident are you in him going forward as the Steelers starter?
Carrie, they can win with Mason Rudolph. He was a 3rd-round pick last year. He's big, he's strong, he has good arm strength. He could get the ball down the field. The question for the Steelers is going to be what happens when the play breaks down. He is not the athlete that Ben Roethlisberger are. That's why Roethlisberger's going to the Hall of Fame. But some of these other pieces that they have on offense, Juju Smith-Schuster, Vance McDonald, they're going to have to step up and do even more. And obviously, we have to closely monitor James Conner's knee injury.
All right, so let's talk about big picture here with Big Ben. Steelers just signed him to a 2-year extension through 2021. He'll be 38 years old in March. We have to talk about the age. How would you handle this situation in the Steelers front office moving forward?
Carrie, with all the bad news that comes out of this injury, it's actually an opportunity now for the Pittsburgh Steelers to evaluate Mason Rudolph. Is he the quarterback of the future? And if we're sitting here in December, we'll know a lot more about Mason Rudolph and his ability to be a winning NFL quarterback than we do today, and that will impact what they do next spring in next spring's draft in terms of do they have to draft another quarterback to potentially replace Roethlisberger, because obviously he's close to the end. This is not a good injury to have as a quarterback, but they may have his successor in Mason Rudolph, and again, they will use this season now to evaluate that position.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, highlights, and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.